Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube. Kevin Rogers with you, looking ahead to Thursday's NBA draft. And we're joined by a great authority on these players. It's former college basketball coach at Long Beach State, USF, Virginia Tech, longtime analyst also at ESPN, Seth Greenberg, who is joining us. And Seth, good to have you here. First thing I want to know from you before we get to the players, the transition from college basketball to the NBA. We know college basketball is a grind of a season, but you're playing 30 or so games. Now you're playing 82 games in the NBA. What do you think is the hardest transition for these players?
Well, I think the back-to-backs and the number of games you play in a week, the length of the games, the physicality of the games, the number of possessions in a game. I think people don't understand. The clock changes the game in the NBA. There's so many possessions. Players got to learn to take care of their bodies. They got to learn to eat well. They got to learn to understand what rest is all about. They got to understand what the cold tub's about and cryotherapy and all those things to make sure they take care of their body. Their body's like a car. You put bad gas in a car, it's not going to run very well. Well, if you don't take care of your body, it's going to limit your ability to play at a high level for a long period of time, and also play at the level you need to play at to get that second contract.
So now we look at the draft and Seth, the number one pick goes to the Orlando Magic. Looks like Jabari Smith out of Auburn. He's the favorite right now to be that number one pick. What kind of impact do you think he can make on the Magic? Do you see him as a star potentially down the road?
Yeah, I do. I see him as an all-star. You're talking about 6'10", 7+ wingspan. I think 7'5" wingspan, I'm not mistaken. I can find out right now, actually. I've got my notes. 7'1" wingspan. Can really shoot the basketball. Very, very good middle game. Can stretch the defense. Very good passer. Can defend multiple positions. Can switch in ball screens. You can put him in isolations. I just think he's as complete a ready player as there is. Obviously Paolo Banchero is very, very good. So is Chet. Holmgren's more of a prospect or a suspect because of his size, length, but lack of strength. But I think that Jabari is the number one pick because of his ability to make shots. In that league, you've got to make shots.
What about Chet Holmgren now out of Gonzaga? And you just mentioned the body's got to put on weight. People will say, well, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he was pretty thin at one point and put on weight eventually. Chet Holmgren could go number 2 to Oklahoma City. They're in a major rebuild project. Do you think that could be a good spot for him, Oklahoma City, where he could maybe bulk up a little bit and play with a team where there's not a lot of pressure?
Yeah, no pressure, a lot of minutes. A lot of minutes and bulking up are two different things. I mean, when you're expected to play a lot, expectation would be high. But look, you're talking about a guy that impacts the game defensively. He doesn't have to score to impact the game. Now, he's going to have to stop someone from getting to their spot in a low block, but he can switch ball screens. He can contest shots. He can move his feet and defend on the perimeter. He can run. He can grab a defensive rebound and initiate your fast break. He can stretch the defense, so he can be a short roll guy or he can be a pick and pop guy. But when people get to his legs, when they get to his body right now, he's, even in the college game, he wasn't as effective. But his length, his quickness, his athleticism, his love for the game. My only concern for him is high hips, small hips. Takes a while for those guys to fill out. It's going to be a while, I think. You look at Mobley last year, had a similar body. I thought he was a little bit stronger, a little bit fuller across his waist. I think Chet is the most intriguing prospect in the draft because he could be Kristaps Porzingis. He could be, who knows? He could be Kevin Durant. He could be Giannis. I don't like the Giannis comparisons because Giannis has a little bit greater physicality to his game, even when he was slighter build.
You mentioned Paolo Banchero from Duke a few moments ago, Seth, and he's in this long list of one-and-dones at Duke that top 3 picks, Kyrie, Zion, you look at even Jason Tatum and what he did for the Boston Celtics, that Banchero can be in that number 3 spot, potentially going to Houston, be alongside Jalen Green. Do you think Banchero is ready for the NBA?
Oh, he's ready. I mean, physically, he's probably more ready than anyone else of the guys that we just talked about. You're talking about 250, 6'10", can play in the mid-post. Terrific. Not a good passer. He is a terrific passer. Can shoot threes, can put him in pick and pops. Again, another guy that you can short roll. My concern is what is he going to do defensively? He takes plays off defensively. He loses focus defensively. He doesn't compete as hard as he needs to defensively. But as an offensive potential, his offensive potential is off the charts. It's whether he can help you win. Yes, because I think the best guys in the league play both ways. They help you win. Banchero's going to rebound. He's going to make it easy for other people. I think he will continue to improve his ability to shoot it. He's physically strong. I just would like to see him not disappear and be a little bit more competitive defensively.
One other name in the top four I want to bring up, because he's the favorite to be the fourth pick, Seth, is Jaden Ivey from Purdue to go to Sacramento. And we know the Kings really have been in a bit of a dormant state for about the last 2 decades. Davion Mitchell went there last year to Baylor. Very good player. But again, you could be lost out there. Do you think Jaden Ivey, if he goes to Sacramento, he could be lost out there or make an impact with the Kings?
Well, you got Mitchell, you got De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they moved Halliburton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Indiana, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're getting another guard. Now, look, he's got a little Russell Westbrook in him and a little John Morant in him. Explosive, freakish athlete. Very good passer in the open court. Not as good a passer in the half court, but very good in ball screens, elevating and scoring. I was disappointed in his ability to create separation in that St. Pete game at the end of the season at times. That low release a little bit concerns me. And then defensively, he's got to be more committed. Like if I'm Sacramento, I got to find the hardest playing, toughest dudes. They got to find a way to develop an identity and a culture. I think Jaden Ivey's upside is incredible because of his athleticism, because of his explosiveness, because of his with a more open space and obviously more transition that you have in the NBA. He'll be able to take advantage of it. Has all different ways to finish around the basket. I would just like to see him defend with great purpose, and then he's got to get that release point just a little bit higher.
Is there a name, Seth, someone that could land in the middle of the first round you think is maybe getting a little underrated by the experts that could be a major impact player?
I don't know if he's underrated. To me, Benedict Mathurin is really interesting because I think he's built for the NBA. 6'6", 6'7", can really shoot it. Straight line driver, committed defender, very good without the ball. If you put him in the right situation, I think that he's a guy that could have an impact immediately because of his shot making, his cutting. If he gets with the right team, I think that he's a guy that, I look at might be underappreciated a little bit. Malachi Branham's the same thing. I think Malachi Branham's going to be a stud, absolute stud. Kid from Ohio State, 1 year, St. Vincent's. Again, a 6'6" slash at the end of the season. I mean, he was averaging almost 20 points a game, I think, his last 8 games of the season. Versatile. I had a chance to watch him in preseason. I went and watched him practice, and he was just getting his feet wet, but you could see his potential. You'd walk in the gym, and, obviously E.J. Liddell was there, and I think he's going to be a first-round draft choice. I think he's undervalued, especially in the new NBA as an undersized 4. But Malachi Branham just jumped out at me. Like I watched the first 30 minutes of practice, and I grabbed Chris Holtman. I said, Mal, you got something special right there. Now, it took a little while for him to get to that point because he had to learn how to compete all the time. He had to learn how to play with other good players. He had to learn where his shots were coming from. But I think he's a really, really interesting prospect.
Seth Greenberg, you could find him on ESPN on the college basketball coverage, longtime college coach at Long Beach State, at USF, at Virginia Tech, and he's made his home at ESPN for a long time right now, and a fantastic job covering the game of college basketball. Seth, thank you so much for the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Kev. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, that is Seth Greenberg. I am Kevin Rogers. Thanks a lot for watching this NBA draft preview right here on Vegas Insider.